Alright, so welcome back everybody. Today we're going to be discussing Thurisaz, Thor's rune. This is probably one of the most popular runes simply because Thor is an extremely popular and relatable god. He is not the Marvel character that many people encounter, but he is quite the character, and he was the god of the common working man. His hammer could be seen both as a weapon of protection and, interestingly enough, as a force of agriculture. I don't think a lot of people really think about how Thor is, in a sense, an agricultural god. The hammer that brings fertility to the earth in the form of thunder and rain, and in the fall, when comes the time for the reaping, the hammer, which, in a sense, it brings the crops right back down again. So thank you, Thor, for the food we eat. I know Freyr and the others are usually more seen as agricultural gods, but Thor, and right there you can actually see the Thurisaz on my little Thor statue. This is his rune. And so if you're listening to my first video when I talked about how the first Aett tends to be very earthy things, material needs. Thurisaz is the rune here that is associated with a god, which I find very interesting. Because again, it goes back to that idea of Thor as a fertility god, Thor as the thunderer who brings in rain, as well as Thor the protector. Because when it comes to protective runes and warding, you can't get much better than Thurisaz, honestly. I just want now to pull up and let you all take a look at its shape. So you see how with Thurisaz, you have that single straight line as you draw the rune. This is the guardian. This is going boom. Buck stops here, this far, no farther. But there's more to back it up. You have the thorn, a little pointy triangle that sticks out from the side. Anything that tries to get past Thurisaz will be impaled upon the thorns. I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to pick or do anything with a blackberry or a rose bush, but if you have, you probably have a pretty good idea of what it's like to go up against the Thurisaz rune, because it's pokey and it hurts. The other really fascinating thing about Thurisaz as you're working with the magic is that this rune will back up other runes and give them an extra wallop. I didn't know this once upon a time. I had my staff, and at a UU Yule service, I was playing the Holly King, and I was supposed to fight the Oak King, and, bring about the changing of the seasons and all that. Or actually, no, I have it backwards. I was the Oak King, and then I was fighting the Holly King. Yes, that was it. Sorry. Had it backwards there. No, I was the Oak King, and I was fighting the Holly King. And right before this, the fake match, I went over my staff and I said, Algis, Othala, Thurisaz. And I will upload the video and you can all see what happened next. I think it's still talked about to this day down at certain UU quarters of Hollywood, if it's still remembered down there. It was pretty epic. But that's what happens when you work with Thurisaz. It tends to add an extra punch to any other magic that you're doing, and it gives it a little bit of a boost. Depending on how recklessly you use it, a lot of a boost. So now we are at the third rune, and I do owe you guys another Havamal reading. So let's see here. How appropriate for Thor. Better a humble home than none. A man is master at home. A pair of goats and a thatched roof are better than begging. Thor, of course, is famous for his pair of goats. And so it is basically, this rune is telling us, appreciate what you have. It could always be worse. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.